Hi, it's Tziporah here. Today I'm talking about BPD and ineffective communication. At the end of the video, I will talk about how it affects our relationships, but for now, I'm just going to say how it comes out in our communication. So, assumptions. We can make lots of assumptions, and this is due to having to make sense of the world on our own as a child. And we know that a child does not have the proper knowledge, understanding, or information to make sense of things on their own. And when we are unable to receive the proper communication, explanations, and understanding from our caretakers, if they're not emotionally or physically there to do so, it leaves us on our own to try to make sense of it. And we can often have assumptions on the negative side of things about the world, because a child can then internalize these outside confusing negative behaviors as things against themselves. So if a parent is acting on their emotions, if a child is in unhealthy situations, then this can start being internalized when there is not a proper understanding of the reality of things. Discomfort in expressing ourselves. A healthy parent should respond to their child's acting out or having unpleasant emotions in a concerning, compassionate, and validating way. And an unhealthy parent responds to a child's acting out or unpleasant emotions with disgust, disdain, and further disconnection and invalidation. So this causes one to avoid expressing themselves, to fear expressing themselves, and to feel their emotions aren't okay, and to continue acting out in ways that might become more internal. Mind reading and guessing. So this is often in a way of perceiving things in a negative way. So seeing that a negative or neutral facial expression is actually unsafe and against us. When there's no parental explanation or expression, it can leave us to just guess or try to mind read what someone is thinking or feeling. And we can be very, very off in many areas when it comes to this. Someone could be just deep in thought and we could be thinking that they're angry at us. So being punished or even told no without being told why can also leave lots of room for guessing what's happening, guessing what's wrong with me, and so on. Hinting. We can be very vague, hint, ask things in a roundabout way, beat around the bush about things. And this is often because of being invalidated or ignored and dismissed so many times. Even called selfish or punished for our needs or our wants or our questions, it basically removes the confidence in being direct. So we try to kind of like sneak things in there so that we don't have to suffer the extreme rejection of what might come from being direct. You statements. These are things like, for instance, if I wanted apples, a healthy way to say this would be, I would like some apples. Are you going to the store? The way that we would say it in a you statement, because we are scared to say I, because the word I need or I want or I would like has been removed from our vocabulary, the you statement version is, are you going to the store? And this is kind of a combination between hinting and a you statement. So this is, again, to kind of have to ask a question in a way where we don't have to be totally rejected, or to express our needs because we've been conditioned that our needs don't matter. Being nervous to bring up any regular conversation or any topics in general. So if we were brushed off, dismissed, ignored, invalidated for asking questions, for expressing our ideas, our likes or dislikes, and so many times that these were just stamped out, it can cause us to feel scared to bring up ideas, very nervous or uncomfortable to start a topic. And it's often because it feels like we will be dismissed or criticized, or that it's out of place and we don't have the voice to do so. Being afraid to clarify. So if a child is ever reprimanded for asking a clarifying question, such as, what do you mean? I don't understand. Can you say that again? And if they are punished or told that they're talking back, that they're being disrespectful, that they're giving lip, this can remove the desire to clarify, and then kind of walk around in a confused state, because it's better to just keep quiet than to ask a clarifying statement. So future relationships would then be affected by this, because we would feel scared, or that asking "what do you mean" is grounds for trouble, when really this is a perfectly okay thing to say. All of this as a child, when we observe our parents, when we observe these negative assumptions, these blamings, these judgments, these passive aggressive tendencies, this all becomes absorbed into us, and it comes out in our communication styles. So this can be very confusing in relationships. There's no indicator of why or for what reason we're saying something. If we're always internalizing things negatively, like assuming or being scared of things, it can very much create disconnect in people. It can seem very random and out of place when we do things like hinting or other vague ways of talking. And it can be confusing or even irritating to the partner. And assumptions can be very disconnecting. It can leave the other feeling misunderstood, and it takes away the room for connection and discussing. No partner wants their partner to feel in trouble. So if we have a subconscious feeling that comes out in lots of communication that we're going to be in trouble for something, it is very hard for the partner to be in the position on the other side, because they don't want to be in this position, and it's a subconscious thing that we do have to overcome. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of working on our cognitive distortions, any underlying trauma, anxieties, different types of things, in order to overcome this way of not being confident in our communication. And it takes a lot of practice to override the previous learned ways of talking and communicating. So if you'd like to be in touch with us, please do. We'll see you in the next videos.